the Shadowlands coming, and with the fear of missing out that we had in BFA and Legion, many of you are wondering, what should I get done on that first day of being cats?
Get level cap. Okay.
There are so many systems coming in the Shadowlands, and as we have capped so many characters over the recent weeks in order to test out leveling, we have had plenty of opportunity to find out exactly what your priorities should be.
Yeah.
Because in Legion and BFA, if you didn't get them done straight away, you felt like you were behind, and you were actually behind, especially if you are
because you actually
raid or get into early PvP. Being behind in power can be a really difficult thing. We have Renown, we have Soulbinds, we have Conduits, we have Legendary Recipes, we have Soul Ash, we have Emissary quests, we have world quests in general.
I need to lay down. I'll be right back, guys. I have to lay down after I heard all that. All right.
Reputation.
Wait,
all
they're
these
not
things
done?
are things we need to
Holy
consider.
shit.
But let's relax for a moment. Shadowlands is going to be much more alt-friendly than before. Let's take away all the things that are on weekly lockouts that you don't need to do on the day. That significantly makes things easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's take out all the things that don't actually revolve around player power. There you go. We're actually left with very few things that you really need to concern yourself with, and those things...
Wait, so you only need to do world quests and dungeons to be good in Shadowlands? That's awesome. I almost don't believe that shit, man. Only on release? Yeah, but what's gonna change? Like, you're gonna have to do the raid too? Like, yeah, fucking obviously you're gonna have to do the raid. But like, yeah, what about Torghast though? Let's let Preach explain it.
We're actually left with very few things that you really need to concern yourself with,
yeah.
and those things are actually optional. This is going to be a big mindset change from the BFA and Legion lifestyles.
Yeah.
Similar to what we had in 8.3. You remember when 8.3 came out, people were complaining en masse that some of the daily quests just took too long. If we had a quest to kill 3 rares in a zone, people were like, this took me 2 hours to get done. And then people
slowly... It takes you 2 hours, you fucking suck, okay? Let's be honest.
Realized... Actually, I don't need to do those things. I get a very small reward for a huge time investment. Doesn't really add up. And over those like 4 weeks or so, the player base adapted. I can optionally do those things. I get a slight benefit from doing it, but nothing that's actually going to impact me in any real way. So it's fine. I can start to ignore certain things. And that is what Blizzard is moving back to. They're moving back to that TBC, Wrath of the Lich King style era with a couple of mandatory things like the Sons of Hodir, for example, but loads and loads and loads of other content that is entirely at your discretion whether or not you want to do it. Do you want to do the...
Dude, that's so badass. Like, that's actually going to be so fucking good to just be able to play the game and enjoy the game for what it is. Not having to worry about, like, a bunch of fucking bullshit or anything like that. You just play the fucking game. Like, I feel like Blizzard... The only reason why they're doing this is because they're confident in the game. Because I think that if they're not confident in a system, they're going to make it mandatory. I really think that's it. Like, they were completely confident about that Mage Tower, man. They brought that shit out. There was no reason you needed to do the Mage Tower just for some fucking appearance of your weapon. Who gives a fuck about that? But everybody did it because they were fucking confident about it. It's the same thing as challenge modes in Mists of Pandaria. And BFA was the opposite. They weren't confident about a fucking thing. They made every single thing pseudo required because of how good it was. Like, it's like the fact is, if they're putting it out there, that's confidence. I think it is.
Kalawak Fishing Derby? Go ahead. Won't really do anything for you other than be prestigious and grant you some sort of extra reward.
I want to give I'm going to make it a relevant personal anecdote to a story that happened over 10 years ago now. So back in Wrath of the Lich King, I actually leveled up my Kalawak fishing all the way up to Exalted because I thought I would be able to use the fishing rod as a DPS weapon in raiding. I really thought that. And I remember I bought it like after weeks of doing every single fucking fishing daily as I could, and I realized I couldn't use it because it was a fishing rod, and I felt like the biggest fucking idiot, man. Yeah, I really did.
On top of your character, and that is what is happening.
Those are the good old days, man.
Let's start with Renown.
Okay.
Renown is weekly capped, and we've had it confirmed by Ian Hazakostas.
This is like your Valor.
They are going to ensure that people who cap early, because typically the expansion will launch one day before the server reset, and historically, players who have turbo capped, absolutely gone full nerd, have been able to get things done, and then the servers reset the very next morning and get a week ahead. They have confirmed that is not going to be the case this time. Now, there's a caveat there. They have been wrong in the past, but they're aware of it, and they're saying it's not going to happen this time, so we'll take them on their word for it this time.
Yeah, huge
improvement. That means that Renown isn't a big deal. You don't need to cap super fast to get a week ahead on Renown, which would be a big deal, because a Renown plays into your Soulbinds in terms
Pause, champ. I hope that they make Renown Covenant specific across your account. So like if you have like a Venthyr warrior, and your next warrior, you want to also your paladin or whatever, you want to join into Venthyr, I would love to see that if like the Renown was like Covenant specific.
How much power you're going to get from them, and in terms of world quest item level rewards. So with that being said, don't worry about your Renown. You can actually leave it until later in the week. There are 3 Renown world quests that you're going to be doing. One of them will be a campaign quest. I know I just said world quest, but one of them's a campaign quest.
Okay.
One of them will be a weekly quest to collect souls from the maw, and another one is going to be one of the callings. Okay, so you can do them at any point.
Those are the emissaries,
don't worry about
right?
it too much. You're gonna be fine.
I'm pretty sure
they
are.
Don't need to rush this out day one. It's nothing you need to worry about until the end of the reset. The same can be said for your Soul Ash from Torghast. Torghast recipes require, or legendary recipes require Soul Ash as a currency. That is weekly locked. If you look at our last Torghast video, your base gear is more important than you realize when going to get your Soul Ash. Which means leave that to the end of the week. Don't worry about it too much. Wait until you've done some dungeons, done some gearing up in basic gear, then go and do Torghast towards the end of the week, when you'll have a much easier time than trying to bash your brains through it on a very undergeared, fresh level 60 character. That's not going to be a lot of fun. So, Renown, Torghast, push it to the back of your mind. You don't need to worry about it too much. One thing you do need to do, though, is find out where your legendary recipes come from. And I recommend you use our spreadsheet that has been updated by Finn.
It's so funny that they have these legendary recipes that you're able to get from different places in the game, because this is literally what we expected to have happen in Legion. Everybody expected this to happen in Legion. This is what they even said. They said that you were going to be able to get these in Legion. This is exactly what we wanted. So I'm happy about this. I'm very happy.
Which has the legendaries you probably want and the sources of them, because some of them do come from
spreadsheet to play the game.
Now, why I'm telling you to be aware of that is the emissaries are now called callings. They do reward reputation.
Clever.
That's something you want to be aware of, because once you cap, the likelihood is you will have 3 callings. Now, there's some variation. Sometimes there was just the one. Sometimes we had all 3. And that means that one of them will expire on the day that you cap. Now, reputation only requires honored for the recipes. So another great quality of life improvement. We're not going to be like BFA, where there was that race to Exalted with the champions of Azeroth. That's gone.
Oh, dude, that was so bad, man. That was so bad. Like, racing to Exalted like that, I think it's kind of cool, but it's just also, like, again, rep alts. Honored is, that shit's gonna take, like, almost no time at all, bro. Like, that's, like, 2 days of, like, fucking halfway playing the game. Like, I'm sorry, but I think that's completely fucking reasonable.
Cap, and you might see that the calling that you have for the day is going to expire, and it is one of the reputation sources that you are interested in. But bear in mind, again, that doesn't mean you're interested in getting all
recipes are account wide.
You no longer need to worry about world quests and callings / emissaries that you need to get all of them done, because they're not going to provide you anything that's a direct player power increase. You're going to get things like anima from there, which directly feeds into your sanctum, which is for optional activities, so don't worry about that. And you will get some gear, yet it's likely not to be great quality gear, because now, and this is an important note, the item level of the world quests and all this kind of stuff where you're getting these treasure chests is tied to your renown. It is no longer based on the item level of your character. So in BFA, as your item level went up, so if you did some LFR, you did some heroic or some sort of boosting, then your item level might shoot up very quickly, and what you'd notice is that the world quests would go up appropriately.
Of course.
This time around is tied to renown. The item level will stay the same until you hit certain renown levels, then the item levels will go up. So it's a separate system. So don't worry about farming all the world quest items. You can fill out a couple.
That sounds cool, right? I think that generally sounds cool. The only thing, I'm fine with that. I just want to see, that shit be account wide. Like, again, I guess like maybe I'm just like talking about this because of BFA, but I really think Renown should be covenant wide and account wide. Like, or Covenant-specific account-wide. Like, if you have 2 characters with Kyrian, the highest Renown level should just be your Renown level. Like, I would really, really prefer that.
Couple of slots, but world quests take a much longer time now. Okay, these are supposed to be a separate gameplay path. If you prefer to do dungeons, that's going to be more efficient for you and more fun. If you prefer to do world quests, that's going to be more efficient for you and more fun.
Yeah.
Now, Pathfinder will be coming into the game at some point. We have had that confirmed. So you will ultimately want to get reputation, but don't stress about it. Don't have this fear of missing out about doing world quest sweeps, because that's going to take you an exceptionally long time.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's not something you really want to focus on, certainly if you feel like you're on sort of time constraint.
Pathfinder is obviously, like, Pathfinder I thought was great in WoD and Legion. Like, it's just that having to do it every expansion now just feels formulaic. Like, as I said, if they really want to get people to come back in the middle of the expansion, tell them that flying is enabled for everybody. Every fucking person will resubscribe just to fly around in the zones. Not everybody, but a lot of people will. I guarantee you, if there's, like, no barrier to entry for flying, and they just say, like, yeah, because there's a bird boss in a raid, and he's making these winds, and he couldn't fly with the winds, and then, but you killed him, and now there's no more winds. You fly wherever you want now, so just log on, it's flying. You know, that'll be it. I think that would be the best way. Like, I think Blizzard should look at enabling features to an extent. He should look at enabling features to an extent. Sorry, I'm just looking at Preach's fucking... I'm just looking at his fucking face. Sorry, it's distracting. Give me a minute.
Gonna have a weird...
Okay. So... they need to make Renown... I just said, like, they need to make Renown account-wide, but also on top of that, I do think they should make flying just a fucking... Just, like, you don't have to do a thing for flying. Like, you just wait halfway in the expansion, they just enable that shit, everybody fucking logs on and flies. That, I think, would be the coolest fucking thing they could possibly do.
Weird moment in the Shadowlands where people are going to be presented with a huge wealth of content. Everything from weekly conduits to doing campaigns to doing Renown to doing world quests to farming them all to doing Torghast, and then they're going to realize, actually, a lot of this stuff is optional. And you'll either fall on one of two sides. If things aren't mandatory, a lot of players consider there to be no content, which is not true. It's just that a lot of players, certainly over the last, say, 6 years, have very much relied on Blizzard to say, you should do this, this, and this. Every time they log in, they have a checklist. Now, some people view that as chores, and they're going to be happy that those chores are no...
They view it like a checklist? Do I have my... Is my thing up right now? Just a minute. Okay, take a look at this. I literally have a checklist. I legit have a fucking checklist right now of all the things I need to do in the game. I have that shit up, and I'm ready for whenever I need to do anything. I need to take a couple of those off the checklist, though, to be fair.
No longer there. So... bear in mind, this is a better system, but there will be an adaptation period where you're like, oh, all the stuff I used to do actually isn't that relevant anymore. Let's talk about the Soulbinds a little bit. Again, they're tied to Renown, which is weekly locked. So you don't need to worry about that too much. Getting your Soulbinds done is a good thing. You're going to gain some power, but you're going to get the most power out of that as soon as you unlock your Soulbind. Every bit of Renown after that is going to give you some incremental increase. Not all of them are power related. The most important ones are going to be conduit slot unlocks. But again, it's weekly capped. Don't stress about it too much. Let's talk about conduits. This is something you will want to target along with your legendary recipes that we mentioned earlier. Find out where they come from and go and get those things done, especially if they're world boss recipes. That could be a real tricky one that we haven't seen how that's going to play out. As for conduits, you're going to be jumping into early dungeons. We've talked about gear a little bit. We've talked about now getting into dungeons. This brings up two things. One, there is a daily normal dungeon quest and a daily heroic. This rewards you a choice of a lot of reputation. This is something you want to focus on as you get started on day one. Find out what your daily normal is and your daily heroic. They're going to be found in Oribos.
I like those.
Find them, figure out what they are, because they will give you a large chunk of reputation if reputation is something you want to get done. Personally, if you're looking to get Pathfinder,
if it's only honored, the thing is, like, missing a day isn't that big of a fucking deal. Because you're going to hit honored probably in the first week or so, and the raid doesn't come out until like 2 or 3 weeks into the game. It's like 2.5 weeks into the game. It doesn't come out until then. Yeah, Time of Year Foresees 2.0? No, Time of Year Foresees 3.0. But regardless, I think this is a great idea. I like this a lot. It kind of is. Well, if you have to get, like, getting honored isn't a big deal. Like, you start at neutral. Like, how fucking much is that? Like, neutral to friendly is 300, and then friendly to honored is 600. It's 9,000 rep. That's it. That's not a big deal. Arrow Button, thanks for the 5 subs. Appreciate it, man.
This is how I would do it. I wouldn't grind world quests unless I absolutely felt it was necessary.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even do the callings unless I really thought it was necessary. Instead, I would gradually get my reputation from doing daily dungeons and daily heroics whenever I have such time. The second thing, gear. Do not do what so many people did in BFA and Legion and buy and bankrupt yourself buying pre-raid BIS.
I did that.
This was a ludicrous situation.
I did that. I bought the sword
at the start of
yeah,
both
I bought
expansions.
the sword.
I want you to join the side of the people who are laughing at people doing this because it is insanity. When the game comes out, we will be limited. We will have Mythic 0 and Heroic Dungeons, but that's it. And we will only have the item levels in the entire game limited to that very, very low bar.
Yep.
Now, what tends to happen is people start picking up BOEs. And the people who are in the know, which will hopefully be you guys, will understand this gear is insanely useless in about 2 weeks' time. Because
well, if it's so useless, guys, that's very true, Preach. So, guys, listen, if the gear is useless and you're on Kel'Thuzad, look, I mean, you're not going to use it anyway, right? It's not a big deal. Just send it over to me, and I'll take care of it, all right? Like, I'll take care of it.
They're going to unleash raiding, they're going to
open
up the PvP seasons, and the item levels available in the game are
Be
just going
fine.
to go poof. And what we saw happening was people literally bankrupting themselves buying 340 gear. Which
yeah, of course.
Then just jumped up to like 370 within a week's time, and they were utterly broke and wearing entirely useless gear compared to the guys who could then jump into Mythic Plus, who could then jump into raiding, who could then jump into PvP.
Exactly.
So people will be charging extortionate prices for profession gear and for stuff that's dropped in BOE that is very low item level. Please do not fall into that trap. I beg of you, okay? So go and get that gear. Go and do some Mythic 0 while everybody's learning. Great time to do it. Do your heroics, then go and do Torghast later in the week, and you'll have a much easier, smoother experience.
It's smart
so
to do.
I've listed off a lot of
100%.
stuff there. Not
Totally
a lot of
agree.
it sounds very much required. Exactly. That's the whole point. In fact, in my Shadowlands first week, I am more than looking forward to doing some professions, capping some alts, doing that kind of stuff. Why? There's not a huge amount that is
Easy,
required.
Dude.
If you want to focus on one character and start working on your weekly Covenant Sanctum campaign and things like that, great. Go and do that. That's totally fine. If you don't want to do that, feel free to do other things. That is the point in the Shadowlands. There is an absolutely enormous amount of content, guys. But a lot of it is optional. A lot of it can take place at any point during the week.
It's going to be so weird that it's going to be optional.
So you can start acquiring some gem slots.
I don't even know what it's going to be like.
With Binary. That's entirely up to you if that is important to you. If it's important for you to get things like extra gem slots on gear, go ahead and do that. But a lot of you, that won't be that big of a deal. So feel free to start working on your professions. Remember, multi-boxing has died, and we have a video coming up on that, so stay subscribed.
Fuck them.
But
the
market's going to be different. Some of you will find a great amount of income farming herbs. Because the multi-box is gone, the market's going to be
people are going to need to spend more money.
Much drier, and we could be looking at a repeat of BFA where guilds were spending millions upon millions of gold for potions and things. Certainly the Mythic Raiders, because they require them for that level of content, and you can make a killing. So do the opposite. Don't go buy pre-bis. Take your time. Maybe do some professions. Start gathering all that gold because it's going to be free and it's going to be available before more and more people cap. All right. I want to leave
That's
you.
That's a huge improvement.
Shadowlands
That's a massive
good,
fucking improvement.
Especially for your alts. You're going to have a whole mess full of content to do. Not a great deal of it is stressful. Don't feel you need to log in every day to get things like Emissaries done. You don't need to do that.
You just play the game for fun, dude.
You can focus on what you enjoy. It's going to be a very specific mentality change from what we've had in the past. And I'm sure some of you are probably listening to this going, sounds like I've got nothing to do. That's the difference Blizzard wants to get away from. The idea that Blizzard needs to write down for you, like a child, essentially, a list of things you need to get done, a to-do list, in order for you to play the game.
It's terrible.
They're going to provide you with lots and lots of pathways that you can go through. Choose the one you enjoy the most and focus on that. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Don't stress it. Shadowlands is looking pretty good. I hope to have several alts in the first week. Bye-bye.
That's a good video. I like that video overall. I think that what he was saying made a lot of sense. And I think, like, obviously there are, like, the Shadowlands, like, the pet peeves that I still have with Shadowlands, right? I don't like the way Covenants are. I don't like what they're doing with, like, a couple of other things, right? Like, it's not like I've forgotten about those or anything like that. So let me go ahead and look at the rest of this here. Priorities. Kill 12 ghouls in Darkshire before everyone tags them. This is a pretty fucking timely comment. Mate, why do you go private for literally 1 minute in the middle of it? I'm excited to finally play Shadowlands with my friends. Lots of people coming back. How many of you guys are actually coming back for Shadowlands? You want to play Shadowlands again? How many of you are actually coming back right now? Me. There's a lot of you guys going back and playing the game. Like, if you want to play on a server, play on KT. I might actually start raiding. Like, if people want to see Castle Nathria Mythic raids, I'll do that. It's always frustrating to see people with 3k achievement points complain that there's nothing to do. Well, this is the problem, right? Is that Blizzard has to engage players on a level that makes them want to do completionism content. If Blizzard hits that mark, they're going to get people actually continuing to play the game and continuing to get excited about it and, you know, getting into the game in general. That's the one thing that they have to do. And if they can succeed at that, they can do anything. That's the one thing I feel like Blizzard needs to take care of, and they need to make sure that they succeed at. What do you guys agree with? Stop trying to make people fucking mount farmers. The thing is, though, is like being a mount farmer is the meta of WoW. Like that is the meta of WoW. Like that is the true end game meta. Like everything else, like farming, like you know, like gear. Like what happens whenever the patch comes out? Like what happens to your gear? It just goes away. Like your mounts stay forever with you. You always have your fucking mounts, man. Transmog hunting is greater than mount farming. Well, listen, whatever you're doing, it's good. Like, as long as you're farming for something and you're doing something to get gear or get something in the game, that's what matters, okay? More than anything else. All the rest of that shit doesn't make a difference to me at all. The memories of raiding with your friends is what stays with you. Yeah, it's like playing with your friends and like being invested in the game. But Blizzard has to do, see, like what Blizzard has done is they've added the stage 2 content. Like stage 1 is getting invested in the game and stage 2 is investing in the game. So stage 1 is getting addicted to the game. They have to get you addicted. And the problem is that WoW right now doesn't get you addicted. You have to have that moment where the player feels like they want more content. They need more for the content. They want to do more. And that more is what you want to take advantage of. And that's what you want to get players to really want and ask for and try to get, man. Retail has loads of worthless, badly designed content. Well, the thing is, like, they do have some good content in retail WoW. It's just that you're right. A lot of the content is not good. And that's what the problem is. They need to do a better job and make the content just generally, like, more engaging. And if they do that, I'll be happy.